With you. How you doing? Call the meeting to order.
Night, Tom, thanks.
Meeting of the Vernon Township Council for Thursday, February 19, 2015. The meeting was scheduled from the Township's February 9th meeting due to the weather. Adequate notice of the meeting has been provided to the public and the press on February 9th, which was published in the Herald on February 12th, and was posted in the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and day of this month.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Kadesh?
Here.
Councilmember Lynch?
Here.
Councilmember Murphy?
Here.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Here.
Council President Rizzuto.
Here. Would you please join with me in salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening is a special occasion. We have two gentlemen with us related to the Special Olympics. I'd like to ask Coach John Barber and his student Sean Kelly to please come forward. We'd like to have, we're pleased to have you with us this evening as we proclaim this month the month for Special Olympics. And to that end, we've developed a proclamation, which I'd like to read into the record for you. Whereas the Special Olympics is founded on the belief that people with intellectual disabilities can, with proper instruction and encouragement, learn, enjoy, and benefit from participation in individual and team sports, adapted as necessary to meet the needs of those with special intellectual and physical limitations. And whereas Special Olympics events provide youngsters with individual challenges and the inner satisfaction of success and accomplishments. And whereas the Special Olympics have been competing in Vernon for 3 decades, and genuine Jersey pride defines Special Olympics New Jersey, which celebrates the impact they have on all who participate, as well as those privileged to witness the magic every time an athlete with an intellectual disability takes to the slopes, reaches a goal, achieves a personal best time, or simply experiences the joy of participation. And whereas Special Olympics helps each youngster learn to play hard and compete to the fullest so as to achieve a success cycle and overcome the pattern of failure and frustration that often plagues mentally challenged youngsters who have not had the opportunity to play, practice, compete, and achieve. And whereas the Special Olympics helps each youngster develop self-respect, self-discipline, self-confidence, physical, social, emotional, and mental fitness, positive values such as sportsmanship, responsibility to team and respect for others, the will to succeed, and the ability to achieve their maximum potential. Now, therefore, the Council of the Township of Vernon do hereby proclaim February as Special Olympics Month in Vernon Township, and we thank the participants of the Special Olympics for choosing Vernon to hold their events. Given under my hand in these free United States in the Township of Vernon on this day of 2015, and to which I have caused the seal of the Township of Vernon to be affixed and have made this proclamation public. Signing for the Council, Council President Patrick Rizzuto. I'd like to present this to you and copies for yourself and for the team.
Thank you, sir.
This is the proclamation for you. 2 copies for you, right here. Clerk, she'll seal that for you. May I have a motion to open the floor for public comments?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kadesh. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. If you have any comments, please state your name and the area of town from which you reside.
My name is Christy Gary. I reside in the Vernon Township. Just want to say I'm very proud that I am a member of the Vernon Taxpayers Association, a group of dedicated individuals who are seeking honesty and transparency in their local government. And I was very surprised to hear that we were a cabal or something like that. You know, the mayor wrote that someplace on the internet.
I'm sorry? I didn't hear what you said.
That was kind of hilarious, a cabal, a C-A-B-A-L.
For?
The mayor said that about the Taxpayers Association, the group that I am in, and I thought, wow, I didn't realize it was in something like that.
I don't believe I heard his comment, but go ahead, continue.
We're very open. We advertise in the papers all the time, so I don't see why that was written, but, well, I don't know. I'm also a person who is deeply concerned about the environment. I've been a member of the National Wildlife Federation for over 30 years, and for the past 2 years, a member of the Sierra Club. I just have a question for the town council, and that is, what qualifications does someone need to become a member of the Environmental Committee? Do you need some special education with regard to the environment? Or would I just have to be appointed by the mayor to be an affiliate of this group?
I believe the parameters for membership are to apply and you'll be evaluated.
Okay. So I don't need any special training or anything like that,
As far as I
or
know.
education?
I know.
Regarding that. Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Gary Vernon. I have some questions for the government to think about. 4 years ago, we had people on commissions and in this town that could stand up and ask questions and be answered in a civilized way. In the last 3 years, people in this town are afraid to ask questions. Groups under them. And these people were smart enough to stand up and ask questions of the council and to the groups under them. There has been a lot of rhetoric in this town putting down people and deriding them. I wonder, is this really because these so-called bad people just might know something about the people in controlling government that they do not want to get out, so that they put the people down in hopes that if it did get out, no one would believe them? Or is it just their bullying tactics? Why are people in this town in fear of reprisal if they say anything? From what I've heard, some people, even in the town hall, act like they are scared to say anything or do anything for fear of reprisal, of demotion, or pushed out. Some people were on commissions that had the intelligence and thought to ask questions were heckled or bullied off. Could this be because the others on those councils or commissions could not or did not want to comprehend what these questions were getting at? I understand there's a new table of people to decide on spending money for the raises or gratuities, which is a disgrace, made up of the mayor, 2 people under him, and possibly 2 outsiders. I doubt that the outsiders would be able to do anything. It's just another way of management in Vernon to get their way with no interference. I wonder why the mayor is there. If he is not there, he would probably appoint hand-picked people to do his bidding. Where we were told a long time ago, housing is held up by Trenton red tape. If this is so, the Civil Service Board made a pronouncement about a thing that was going on, and a week later, it changed its mind entirely. What kind of pressure was put on that board in Trenton, and by whom? How much heat has been put to them to get this thing rolling? Plus, where is the state's money now, and how much is left? These are the questions that I have.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments, Rob?
Pardon?
Nothing? Are there any other comments for the council?
Hello, Bev Buds, Vernon. I wanted to come to the meeting tonight to publicly thank the Vernon Police for yet again taking another drug dealer out of Vernon Township, and specifically out of my neighborhood, Lake Wanda. Every concerned mom and dad owes the Vernon Township Police a debt of gratitude for cleansing our town of this scourge. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Seeing no further comments, no one coming forward, may I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Motion made by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made by Mr. Kadesh. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Mayor Murata is not with us this evening. We do have Mr. Zuckerman acting as mayor, and he's the acting mayor. May we have the mayor's report, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. The only good news I have is that our salt shed is filled. We received over 600 ton, and hopefully we will not be needing it this weekend, but
You
it
never
doesn't
know.
look good. But we have enough salt at the moment.
No.
That's my report.
Under pain of demotion, we only take good news here.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Bill, if we were to expand that shed, how much would the shed cost?
It depends on the size of the shed. We have estimates starting at, say, 200,000 on up, depending on the size of the shed that you would purchase or build.
And so would you envision, say, a 6,000-ton shed, or, because we had discussed this.
It's currently being looked at by the Corey Stoner, our town engineer, and Dave Pullis, as he told us the other night, and no decision has come forward, but it's a cost versus size
I think
trade-off.
we'll have more adequate explanation under the capital budgets.
We will be presenting a
Yeah.
proposal in the very near future, but it's not cheap.
I believe the shed that we currently have holds 2,500 ton?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Consent agenda. Resolution 15-46, appointing secretary for the Historic Preservation Commission. Previous secretary, Cynthia Davis, has retired. This resolution appoints Mrs. Jessica Palladini as the secretary for the Historic Preservation Commission. Resolution 15-47, authorizing the release of 2 performance bonds for Aqua New Jersey Incorporated for Phase 1 and 2, waterman improvements in the Cedar Ridge section of Vernon Township. The water main improvements project has been completed and accepted by the township engineer. This resolution authorizes the release of the performance bonds for same. A maintenance bond is not needed, as this project has been completed for longer than the statutory requirement for a maintenance bond would have been in place. Resolution 15-48. This resolution accepts the completion of Phase 1 improvements to Breakneck Road. The Breakneck Road project, Phase 1, has been completed and accepted by the New Jersey Department of Transportation and the township engineer. This resolution allows for the township's acceptance of this project. Resolution 15-49, authorizing the use of Houston Galveston Area Council Contract SW04-14 to purchase one Johnson sweeper, model VT651DS, for the Department of Public Works. The DPW, in need of a street sweeper, finds this one to be meeting its requirements, and the purchase of this street sweeper in the amount of $270,410, which is under budget. May I have a motion to accept resolutions 15-46 through 15-49, to place them on the table for consideration and discussion?
I'd like to bundle 47, 48, and 49.
Okay?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lynch. Are there any comments on resolutions 1547 through 1549?
In terms of the last one, I have a brochure, if anybody'd like to see it,
Okay.
see what we're doing. We can discuss it, I suppose, after the vote.
I'd seen it. It's a big truck.
I can tell you it has a John Deere 135 motor on it.
Okay.
So that makes it all okay, doesn't it?
Nothing runs like a deer.
I really, I hope we don't use that in shared services. We've had sweepers before, and we use them in shared services, and they get destroyed.
I think with the amount of street miles that we have, we probably could do it just as well with ourselves, keeping it pretty busy and maintaining it for that level.
One concern, if you look at the videos, is that we don't have really the curbs that side sweeper was involved in, and I'm not sure that it's really designed for a rural sweeping of debris and
Where do you live?
gravel.
Where do you live?
They have to pay
I don't
special,
have any curbs on my street.
I got curbs on mine.
they have to pay special attention to where the white line is. That's where,
There are no white lines on my street.
Don't have any of those either.
Excuse me, my road.
I got a lot of ruts on mine right now.
The intent is not to use it as shared service at this time. We have enough,
I assume most of it will be used for cleaning out the basins.
yes. That was one of the problems we had in the last storm, is the basins were clogged and the runoff was not as good as it should have been.
But I hope we can take good care of it. It's expensive.
TLC.
All right. Any other comments? If not, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Lynch?
yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes,
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Carries to adopt resolution 47 through 49.
Bringing us back to Resolution 15-46. May I have a motion to place that on the floor for consideration?
Motion?
Motion made by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
second,
Seconded by Mr. Wetzel. Any questions or comments on this particular resolution? If not, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Councilmember Kadesh?
No.
Councilmember Lynch?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Abstain.
Councilmember Wetzel?
yes,
President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Carries to pass resolution
That completes the consent agenda. We have the introduction, the first reading of the proposed ordinances. This is ordinance 15-03. An ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of certain property owned by the township and not required for public purposes, more specifically unused water transmission mains. This ordinance pursuant to the state statute allows for the auction of the water transmission lines. The public auction shall be on March 23rd, 2015, at 7 p.m.
I'd like a point of order.
Yes?
I have the February 9th, and the introduction says none. So is that going to cause a problem?
No,
Is it on
because,
tonight's agenda?
no, the,
It was sent
Go
to
ahead.
us in an email.
There was a revised agenda sent out.
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't print it out. My printer was out of ink.
okay.
Here's some.
No, I thought that's what I picked
Is
up.
it, was a copy made available for council members?
They were placed in the mailbox.
Okay, thank you. Public auction shall be on March 23rd, 2015 at 7 PM, and the sale of the lines shall not be for less than $151,000. The township's cost to install same. Also, please note, the meeting of March 23rd, 2015 will commence at 7 PM to accommodate the auction. So the starting time for our meeting will be at a half an hour earlier. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1503 with a public hearing to be held on March 9th, 2015?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Murphy.
Member Kadesh?
In terms of discussion,
I'm sorry.
I really think it's a subject that really should be examined thoroughly before any action be taken. I don't understand why we would take a resource, an asset in our township, and sell it to a private company and lose the advantage of having some control over the rates that might be charged in the future. I don't think that it's a good idea to sell something, especially for $150,000 minimum bid, or $151,000, and then have to buy it back at some future date at $1.5 million. That, to me, sounds like transactions that have taken place in the past, and I don't understand the need of it. I'd like to have an engineer and various other individuals at least explain it to me before we put the ordinance on the agenda.
I didn't see anything in the paperwork about buying it back for $1.5 million.
I said that's a supposition. I didn't say, but I mean, that's what's happened
I
in the
think
past
that-
in other issues.
I think that selling this asset that needs an exorbitant amount of repair may be a quality decision.
We've had no
we
idea
don't-
as to how much it cost initially.
I don't think that selling this asset is to the detriment of the town. I think it's to the benefit of the town.
But we've had no discussion.
Well, I
We've had
think that's why we're,
absolutely
well, I think
no
that,
exploration of
I
this.
think that becomes the purpose of placing the ordinance on the table for discussion.
And the idea of making a statement that we are already doing something wrong by selling it for $1 million, by buying it back for $1.5 million, sends this discussion down the wrong road
Well,
already.
it's nice that you
The
want to
question-
sit there and denigrate what I
The question has been,
suggest.
the question has been called. Is your vote yea or nay?
Is that, are you calling for the roll now?
Yeah.
Discussion's finished?
No, I mean.
No.
Council, Member Lynch?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Wait a minute, what's the question? I'm sorry.
To introduce the first reading of this ordinance for discussion.
For discussion.
You have to have a reading of the ordinance for the second reading.
Okay, yeah.
President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Carries to introduce ordinance 1503, held on March 9th.
Thank you. There are no ordinance for second reading. Mayoral appointments, Resolution 15-50, appointments to the Historic Preservation Committee. Mayor Murata has recommended the appointment of two alternates to the Historic Preservation Commission, Laura Pentinato and Lisa Permunian. This resolution authorizes that appointment. May I have a motion to adopt the Resolution 15-50?
We'll make that motion.
Motion is made by Mr. Lynch. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Wetzel. Any questions or comments on this? If not, I'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Lynch?
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes,
Motion carries to adopt resolution 1550.
thank you. Council comments? Start, Mrs. Murphy, do you have any comments?
Actually, just wanted to make a comment about that, the ordinance, that when we do have that second reading, is maybe that if Corey Stoner were available to be here, to just maybe go over, bringing us the map that shows the key of what properties would be involved, because I know that there's another map that's a little more detailed than what we were provided.
Okay,
And maybe just, so I think that might be benefit.
Good idea.
good idea. Fine, we'll make sure that happens. Will the clerk please note that? And Mr. Zuckerman?
Yes, it will happen.
Perhaps also wondering, would we need the planner, or do you think that would be, Corey would be
The
sufficient?
planner will give you any more information.
All right, we'll start with Corey, see what happens. Are there any other comments? No?
That's all. That's all.
Mr. Kadesh?
Yeah, I have a comment regarding how our work session was advertised, that action may be taken. I don't understand, when we passed Resolution 1502, and 3 individuals up here voted against having work sessions in which action may be taken, why we now have the wording special. While I understand that special meetings allow action to be taken, we specifically voted not to have that activity take place, although it didn't take place on work sessions. It sets a precedent, and I don't think it's appropriate to have a resolution pass and have the agendas read differently than what we had set up at the beginning of the year.
Perhaps council would like to address that?
Yeah, the legal recommendation is for uniformity, that whether it be the regular meeting or a workshop meeting, so long as they are public meetings where the public can attend and they're properly noticed, including that language is merely mirroring the statutory language, which permits that notice to have in it whether or not certain action will be taken. It's broad, it permits it, it doesn't require it, but it allows the public notice that if action is taken, they can certainly attend here and comment on that. So as far as the legalities of the notice itself, it does comply with the Open Public Meeting Act statute.
Well, I fully understand the legality. However, we don't operate necessarily on legality. We operate on votes. And those votes, at least 3 of us had decided that we didn't want to have any action taken during work sessions. My opinion, I can't speak for the rest of them, my opinion is that the public often attends at a minimum at work sessions. Note our attendance that we had today. And to me, that's not full transparency. It's not our fault. It's not our responsibility to make sure that the room is packed with the public. On the other hand, it's our responsibility to have a perception that we are fully transparent. And that concerns me, that we worked around it just to satisfy our legal requirements.
Are there any other comments?
It is not our responsibility to pack the room, but it is our responsibility to be prepared if it were to be packed. And it is our responsibility to legally do the things that we were elected to do. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Wetzel?
I have no comment on that. The only comment that I have is on the proposed water sale. I don't want to see the town get stuck like the town of Sussex, which is going through a nightmare now
I agree.
with their water problems because they did not sell the water.
Thank you. The comments that I have, I'd like to point out that the County Public Health Department has sent out notice of the adult health check clinics. These are clinics for checking out individuals who wish to be, have some, being checked for free breast clinics, cervical cancer, prostate, and colorectal screening. It's available to those who qualify. The dates are listed. Location would be the Public Health Nursing Office at Wheatsworth Road in Hardiston. The day and time is the second Tuesday of every month from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, the fourth Wednesday of each month from 2 to 4 p.m. So it's the second Tuesday and the fourth Wednesday. And the 2015 dates are listed. You can go online and see those particular dates specified. There's also a free consultation with a registered nurse on your blood pressure. And there's also one thing else that I want to make sure that I mention. Recently, I think people may have seen comments regarding measles and the eruption of measles in our population. It's a terrible disease. I think people sometimes make too light of it. But going back a number of years before we had the rubella vaccines, we saw so many women who were exposed in childbirths and had to bear the terrible results of deformities caused by this disease, or the loss of problems with hearing or things like that, and so easily prevented with the vaccine. And the vaccines have been, researched and investigated and analyzed, and they are very safe. So they're very safe for the children, and they're very safe for adults. With the number of people coming into our nation from overseas where perhaps immunization requirements are not as stringent, we need to be so much more vigilant and on guard for what is going on. So if in fact you suspect your child or yourself may be in need, please take advantage of this. Measles is not just something with little dots on you. It's very, very serious and can result in loss of life. And it's usually given with the mumps vaccine, which if older men get it, it can be extremely painful and extremely dangerous, as well as for older women. So I wanted to just point this out. Be wise and immunize. The other comment is that, I chose at most times not to address some of the comments from the floor because I find them just, that's an opinion and everybody's entitled to it. What I am concerned about, though, is when accusations are made that people who work in this building are being threatened in any way. I don't know how intimidating I could be. I'm, 71 years old, and I'm kind of out of shape. I can't say that for my good friend over here, Mr. Lynch, and he's a little bit younger than I am. But certainly no one on this council would do anything like that. You're welcome. But, I take that as something that really is hearsay. And since these meetings are televised and since they go out to the public, for someone to say that there is an active presence of someone going around creating a situation where people are threatened or intimidated in any way, I think is totally outrageous. And before a comment like that is even considered, I think if anybody has any factual knowledge, they deserve to go to the chief of police and provide that information, rather than to make spurious comments and allegations in front of a public and then turn around and walk away. It is high time that simply because a difference of opinion is expressed, that it not be considered as a threat or intimidation. We simply don't agree. And that's the basis for our form of government. And how strongly we do it, I guess that might be something that we have to look at. But as far as I know, we haven't been screaming at each other or raising hammers or tongs over here trying to get somebody's attention or to make a point. We've simply said we don't agree, and we voted that particular way. So I have no other further comments, and I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Murphy. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mr. Wetzel. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you.
Keeskin.